Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by the movie Hangout. Latest rumors about Star Wars. So it sounds like, and I've checked several sources, it looks like Disney is secretly bringing in George Lucas to help fix the character Luke in Star Wars Episode 9. So that is the latest rumor. Here's an article that I found regarding that. Several sources, a lot of people on the inside talking about this. As you know, in Star Wars Episode 8, they totally destroy the character of Luke Skywalker. He went from being this kind of noble samurai. Basically he went from being a space samurai to a depressed Unabomber, a depressed space hobo living in a cave with these weird like fish reptile nuns. It was really really bizarre, and it totally destroyed the character. Luke Skywalker is a Jedi. Jedis never give up, no matter what. Luke Skywalker didn't give up on his father, Darth Vader. He stuck it out till the very end because he felt the just one little ounce of good in him, and it shone through in the final scene with Luke and his father, Darth Vader, before spoiler alert, before Darth Vader passed away. So right here, this article is talking about it. It sounds like Disney, in a precarious position now after the disaster of Solo, a Star Wars story, are seeking help from someone who knows Star Wars like none other. Now, why Disney didn't actually get help from George Lucas from the very beginning, I have no idea. I think a lot of it, honestly, has to do with the arrogance of Carolyn Kennedy. Carolyn Kennedy has had a long, successful career with Steven Spielberg. But look, I mean, just because you have had a successful career doing original content, she worked on E.T., she worked on a bunch of movies. She eventually was in charge of Spielberg's production company. Just because you were successful with original content doesn't mean you're going to be successful with something that's already been pre-established and has such a locked in cult like fan base like Star Wars. So they're going to bring in Star Wars to polish up the script and guide J.J. Abrams down the right path as he puts the finishing touches on the finale of the Mouse House's new trilogy. I can't stand how that sounds. The movie will be a make or break release for the studio. After all, thanks to the unfairly maligned Last Jedi. Look, I don't think it was unfair. The Last Jedi was, when I left it, I was like, you know what? I kind of I dig the movie. I like it. I like it. But then the longer time, the more time that went by, the more I kind of was like, I don't like that movie. Then eventually I hated the movie. It's because it's an okay science fiction movie, but it's a terrible, terrible Star Wars movie. Uh, and the fairly maligned Solo. So they think Last Jedi was unfair, how the criticism towards that was unfair, but the criticism to Solo was fair. And I'm guessing a lot of that has to do with identity politics. Last Jedi starred a woman, Solo starred men, so of course it's okay to bash the male one. But if there's ladies involved, then you can't say anything negative at all. And the criticism wasn't even that horrible for Last Jedi. It was just like, there was nobody was individually personally targeted. It was just the characters they played were targeted, but they took it personal. And it makes sense that they're now doing everything they can to win back fans who might be finding themselves in a little Star Wars out at the moment. Well, look, that's Disney's fault. In the past, Star Wars would come out I mean, gosh, pretty much almost once a decade. So it was like a cultural, generational event. Now it's like every 6 months or something. It's ridiculous. We advise taking this with a grain of salt. I mean, of course, as the intel comes from Express, who classify it as a rumor, but according to them, Lucas had a hand in numerous sequences to fine tune some of the legacy characters and their interactions with some of the sequel trilogy characters. Not only that, but apparently the filmmaker also directed Abrams with Mark Hamill and exactly how the character Luke Skywalker should be done. See, this should have been done. This should have been done from the get-go. In The Force Awakens should have had more Luke Skywalker in it, rather than just an awkward stare at the end of the film. He should have stepped in at least halfway into the film and said something. I mean, it would only make sense. And then for them to destroy the character in the last one, Ryan Johnson, to be honest with you, he should have had George Lucas with him the entire time writing the thing. With the studio hoping to avoid backlash they saw with him in The Last Jedi. Well, that's relief. So this is a behind the scenes photo here. And we got some face capture. So this is from The Force Awakens and just kind of showing J.J. Abrams style. The one thing I did like about J.J. Abrams is like all this stuff is like real, which is cool. With Ryan Johnson, it was like all CGI and it looked like just like crap, especially the casino planet. It looked like a kid's show. Depending on what you think of his talents, the resurrection George Lucas as a creative force in that galaxy far, far away might make you cheer or groan at the news. Personally, I say that's so as long as he's only handling the story beats and plotting and leaving the dialogue to others. This could be just the creative shot in the arm Star Wars Episode 9 needs. I totally agree with that. George Lucas, in my opinion, is not that great at writing dialogue, but when it comes to story structure, he's really, really good. After all, Disney has spent so much time and effort trying to ape the style of the original trilogy ever since they acquired the franchise. So why not just go back to the source? That's true. We could see in The Force Awakens that they were trying to kind of like resurrect the whole franchise. Basically, The Force Awakens it's exactly like A New Hope, except rather than a male Luke Skywalker, there's a female one. It's almost exactly the same movie, which can work, but The Last Jedi is no The Empire Strikes Back. I mean, as good as The Empire Strikes Back is, The Last Jedi is bad. So the third one in this trilogy, I can't imagine the third one is going to be even close to The Return of the Jedi, but we will see. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think that George Lucas coming in to potentially fix the Luke character is going to work? Do you think it's too late for the Luke character? You have to remember, at the end of the last episode, Luke dies. He's like vaporized. I heard rumors they're going to do tons of flashback sequences. I mean, how that's going to work, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think George Lucas is going to miraculously have Luke resurrected, like all the midi-chlorians all like bind together and Luke is resurrected in like some weird glowing spiritual form and he's all throughout the movie? Or do you think they're just going to pretend like The Last Jedi never even happened? Do you think it's going to be like Luke wakes up in the beginning of this movie and The Last Jedi was like his blue milk delusion or something? Like he drank way too much spoiled blue milk. What do you think? Comment below. How do you? And also, I want to hear this from Star Wars fans out there. How do you think the Luke character can be fixed? What are your theories? Like, what would you do? Because I think the Star Wars fans can come up with pretty much as good of an idea as George Lucas, if not better, at this point. Let me know. I'm interested in finding out. And as always, if you want to get future rants, reviews, or original content, click subscribe. Later.